Welcome and welcome back. If you're returning, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't seem to get that, but hey, I'm going to stick with it. So, if this is your first time, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. If this is your first time, please continue to watch this channel. All of my dishes is easy and delicious. I don't like to keep you waiting. And those of you who are returning, I thank you. I'm going to ask you too to please continue to watch. Please, if this is your first time, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, stick with me a while. I am trying to improve my channel and grow my channel. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. So with that said, let's get into it. So this dinner is a Greek dinner. And this Greek dinner will be any takeout, any restaurant. Number one, it's not nearly as expensive and you can do it yourself. So let's get into it. So the dinner I'm making, like I said, I'm going to say Greek inspired. Maybe that would be a little bit better if I said that. And I'm just trying to adjust the camera to give you a better view of what I'm doing. Please bear with me. Okay. Okay. That's the best I can do for right now. So what am I making? Like I said, Greek inspired dinner. And I'm going to use Orzo. Can you see that? Let me come down this way. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Orzo. So now you know, I'm not going to tell you. I always say I'm not going to say anything, but prices are outrageous nowadays for food, for everything. So, so far, pasta has been pretty good with prices not going up. Now I'm using that brand, but if you have another brand that you stick with for your pasta, you go right ahead and use it. I'm just using that brand because guess what? It's on sale. So over here I have some hot water boiling, and that's what you want. And I'm going to come in. Now, usually I will cook this in a broth, right? But I'm not this time, and you're going to see why a little bit later. So I'm going to come in with about a cup. And you could make as much or as little as you want. This is a wonderful dinner because you get to decide how much orzo you want. Now, I suppose you can use another type of pasta, but I do know in Greece they use orzo. Not just in Greece. Throughout the Mediterranean, they use Greece. So, trying to keep this authentic. So there we go with the orzo. Also, now I know what you're thinking. Where's the vegetables? Real easy. I'm using string beans, and I did look it up, and they do use string beans in Greece. They call it something else. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But you know, I love one pot, so that's what I'm going to do. And you can do this. I am going to put my string beans right in with the orzo. Yes, I am. And they both cook pretty fast. So I'm not really afraid of one overcooking. And if this is your first time to my channel, like I said earlier, I don't like my vegetables crunchy, so it's okay if they're very, very soft. So now I am going to get a lid on that because if you cover it, it will cook faster. So now we're going to cover that and I'm going to sit this to the side. I have my hot plate, which makes things a little bit easier, a lot easier. So I'm going to slide this over. There we go with that. And now, what am I doing next? I'm going to make the ingredients that's going to go into our Greek-inspired meal. That's going to be any restaurant or any takeout. So how have the weather... The weather's been pretty nice where I am is what I'm trying to say. I hope it is where you are too. And again, just trying to readjust the camera so you get a better view. That's all. And you know, I don't know why I'm like this, but when it's nice outside, I try to eat extra healthy. I don't know. Or like I guess to make up for the winter months. And I have some tomatoes. And again, this brand was on sale, so that's why I'm using them. And this is going to be full of vegetables. So if you're trying to get the little ones to eat more vegetables, this is a perfect dinner for them. And it's fast and it's easy and it's affordable. Okay, so we love tomatoes in this house. And I'm just cutting them in half. You can keep them whole if you want. But I'm going to cut them in half. And I find that the smaller ones are even sweeter. And if you're trying to get little ones to eat tomatoes, or even yourself, maybe you should go with the sweeter ones or the smaller ones. They have heirlooms, and I know it's squirting out all over this. I'm fine with that. I'm cutting it up. Can you leave it whole? Absolutely. But again, I just like to cut it up for presentation reasons. Plus, if you're feeding even yourself or little ones, it's much easier to get on a fork and into your mouth. So one day, hopefully, I will actually make it to Greece. And again, let me know where you're watching me from. And, if you of Greek ancestry, let me know how authentic you think the smell is. Now, clearly, I haven't been doing any traveling recently. Won't go into that. And it's clearly because of affordability. Trust and believe. It's truly just because of affordability. Okay, I have that to the side. I've been doing this channel quite a while now. And I'm really trying to build it up, get better equipment and stuff. But that's kind of expensive. So I thank you for bearing with me. I'm really going to try to improve the lighting the next time. Okay, so I have these olives, and I know what you're thinking. Olives are usually very salty, but not these. These are actually kind of sweet. I know what you're thinking. Olives can't be sweet, but these, compared to the briny ones, these are actually sweet. Okay, I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I know I will pronounce it wrong. And a lot of ingredients that I have here is actually, you can find them in Mediterranean cooking. So that will include Greece, Italy, Venice. So although those olives may say Italian and not Greek, I was thinking about I was thinking about the other type of olives. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I will pronounce it wrong. But they were a little bit too salty. And there are so many varieties of olives. I can't begin to, count them up, how many different varieties. But you use what you like. I just decided to use this one because I find it's not as salty. And I'm cutting that in half. I like to cut everything in half. Like I said, better presentation on the plate and in your dish. And you don't have to open your mouth as wide, which my parents used to always tell me, Tammy, my parents used to always tell me, don't open your mouth so big. It's not that ladylike. So there we go. And I'm just cutting them up. And if you don't like olives, hey, don't put them in. You don't have to. That's one thing if you're new to my channel or if you've been with me a while and I'm cooking with an ingredient that you just don't use or your family don't like. Hey, swap it out. Put something else in there that they like. Or just leave it out completely. And that's one of the wonderful things about cooking at home, besides saving a ton of money nowadays, is that you get to decide, like I always say, of your ingredients. How much you want, how little you want. So yeah, and I decided to go with a healthy meal this time, or a healthier meal instead of a delicious treat, even though this is quite delicious. Again, I'm not trying to get into a two-piece, but hey, why not eat healthy when you can? Especially, and I know it's expensive, but if you can, try to make a little bit, healthier choices when you go to the market. That is what I'm trying to say. If you can. And I think most people would if they could afford it. Okay, so now I'm going to check on the orzo. And that's really what I'm trying to wait to get done, is the orzo. And because the green beans or string beans, whichever one, that doesn't take any time. See? So we're going to give it a look-see. I think I'm going to let it cook just a little bit more. And I love that because it cooks very fast. Okay. So I know what you're thinking. What else is going to go in this salad? Well, I'm going to bring this mixing bowl over. And I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to move it over here. And I'm going to put in my olives, my tomatoes. I would love for y'all to give me a suggestion of what you'd like to see me make next. I do read your comments, and I thank you so very much for leaving a comment. Please continue to do so. Please thumb up this video. I realize you may watch the video and may forget the thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't really care for it. But again, either way, just, leave me a comment. Let me know, what do you think about it? What you would have did different. I love ideas, and I love some people to share and let me know how they, make their little Greek inspired dish. Now, feta. Yeah, I couldn't do Greek without feta. That's what I was thinking. Now, I'm using this feta because, hey, on sale. For no other reason than that it's on sale. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. It's almost done. And again, if you don't like feta cheese, you can leave it out. There's so many different types of authentic Greek cheese. Or you can just, like I said, leave it out. This is feta crumbles. So, and if you hear that in the background, that's the pot letting me know it is nearly done. I, as you can tell, love feta cheese, but I'm going to stop right there. Okay, this meal is coming together really fast, and that's another thing I love. You're at home, kids hungry, you're hungry, it's been a long day, you want to get something on the table, you don't want to order out. Lord knows I've done that so many times, ordered out, because I just didn't feel like cooking, it would take too long. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Okay, so now look how fast this is done. So I'm going to take this strainer and I'm going to drain it. I'm doing it off camera, but trust and believe that's what I'm doing right now. It's just draining the orzo and the green beans. And I was going to call this Mediterranean inspired. Yeah, Mediterranean inspired meal and healthy meal. And I guess you still can call it that. Because I know many of these ingredients they eat in the Mediterranean or throughout the Mediterranean. Maybe that's what I should be saying. Throughout the Mediterranean is these ingredients. I always say, work with me, stay with me. I may pronounce it wrong, but I mean throughout the Mediterranean, these ingredients are eating and throughout the Mediterranean. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I know you're saying, what is she doing out off camera? Well, I'm just simply trying to strain or straining all of the food. And I'm going to take these tomatoes out of the way and I'm going to let this sit here for a few minutes. And I'm going to let it cool. I don't want it very, very hot because the cheese will begin to melt. So I'm going to let that, I'll bring it over and I'm going to let that cool as much as I can. Steam is still coming from it. So yes. I have this flag. Someone gave me this flag a long time ago. Now, I don't know if this is the authentic Greek flag. Again, if it's not, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get that off. So I'm not saying it is, but someone gave it to me as a gift. And that's what you're looking at on my table. If it's not, let me know. If it is, let me know. I would never want to say it is and it's not. Clearly, I'm not sure. I had to take their word for it. Of course, I'm going to look it up. But at the time, I didn't, and I haven't since. So you see the steam? I don't know if you can see the steam coming off of this. I may just put this in the refrigerator for a few minutes. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do to let it cool off because, like I said, I don't want it hot. So you give me a second and let me put this in the refrigerator. Okay, so I'll put that in the refrigerator just so it'll cool off and I'm going to move on. So I have some oil and you could use 100% olive oil if you want, but guess what I found out? I found out a lot of times what we think is 100% olive oil is actually not. It's actually a blend of oils. So guess what? I feel okay using it. And I'm just going to put a little bit in. And these ingredients is simple. Now, if you're new to my channel, again, everything is simple. I like to use ingredients that you can get from your local market. You don't have to get anything special. Okay, so we're going to come in with that. This is a little bit of garlic. And don't worry, all the ingredients and measurements will be in the description box. So now we're going to come in with some onions. So onion and garlic. And I put the feta cheese in. So that is why I'm not putting any salt. Because I feel like the feta cheese is salty enough. So now, you ever get a powder ingredients and they stick together. That's what this is doing in my hand. So sticking together. So I'm just gonna crumble it up, the garlic myself, and put it in there. Oh, I hate that. So, but there we go. So we did that. So now I'm just gonna give this a stir. And I know what you're thinking. Is that gonna be the whole meal? Just the salad? You might as well say. No, but I'm going to set this aside. And the reason why I'm setting this aside, besides letting the orzo and the green beans, string beans cool, I also want the flavor to marry, to come together inside of my dish. So I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to move on to the next part. I'm going to move on, because I don't know if you heard me, to the next part of our dinner. And I felt like you can't have a Mediterranean dinner or a Greek-inspired dinner without having fish. Yep. Now, the only reason why I'm going with fish is because it is on sale. Yes. So I went with trout. Is that really a Greek fish? I have no idea. Probably not. No, I won't say I don't have any idea. I was told that they eat some variety of trout throughout the Mediterranean. So I guess that include Greece. But yeah, I have trout. And I'm going to put this right here. And guess what? I forgot one of the ingredients. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I just felt like you couldn't have an authentic Greek meal without some fennel and some rosemary. Now, I happen to have fresh rosemary, but trust and believe, if I didn't have fresh rosemary, I would just simply use the dry one. And I'm just going to put some parchment paper. Did I tell you I'm going to cook my fish in parchment? Yeah. I don't know how authentically Greek that is, but I'm going to do that. So I'm also going to come with a little bit of oil. This is the same oil that I use, so it's an olive oil blend. Yeah, I feel safe saying that, olive oil blend. Okay. So again, this is trout. And I'm using trout, one, because it was on sale, and I've been told that they eat it throughout the Mediterranean, which, like I said, includes Greece. So now I'm just putting this on. But you know what? I'm going to put it underneath the fish. I'm getting ahead of myself. And I do have the silver skin on. And you probably say, why is she putting it underneath? Believe it or not, when it starts to heat up in the oven, the flavor goes through the fish. Yeah, absolutely. It goes through the fish. And so the flavor will still get there. So now I'm going to come in with this. And I know you're probably saying, that doesn't really look that Greek. And what's in it? Okay, so I'm going to tell you what's in it. If I had to buy it, I'll have like 4 or 5 different ingredients on this table, so I don't do that. So this is onion, it's garlic, it's salt, it's celery, coriander. So I'm going to put all of the ingredients in thyme. So again, everything that I'm sure they eat in Greece, or I believe, let me not say I'm sure, I believe, in throughout the Mediterranean, which include Greece. Again, take a minute, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel, and it costs absolutely nothing. Now, I'm not adding salt because that's already in here as well. Okay, so now I am going to put some fresh rosemary on top. And I've been preheating my oven. How do I preheat my oven? I just turn it to 300 or 350 and just let it stay like that until I'm ready to put my food in. And you want to cook it this is a very thin piece of fish. It's not too thick. So it's not going to take a long time to cook. But if you have multiple pieces, you can still cook it for about, I would say 20 minutes. I would start looking. After that, it should be done. 20 to 25 minutes. And like I said, I have fennel, fresh fennel. And that is rare for me. If you've been on this channel, you know I'm all about using like dry herbs and stuff like that. I'm going to take the stock and just put that to the side. But since I was able to get some fresh fennel, I said, hey, why not? Now, if you don't like the taste of fennel, and I know some people say they don't, guess what? You don't have to use it. You can leave it off. but I'm just going to slice it up. I happen to like it when it's cooked. Some people eat it raw. Yeah, believe it or not, they do. I don't know if that's really a Greek thing to eat it raw. But some will eat it raw. It's supposed to be fantastic for digestion. And I'm just laying this across my fish. But again, if you don't, hey, if your family don't like it, don't. You could come in with thyme if you want, or just the rosemary, or just the seasonings that I put on, which was dry thyme, onion, garlic, coriander, and I'm going to put this on the side. And because I'm going to wrap this up, I'm going to make it like into a little pouch. The flavors is going to go right through the fish. Okay, so I'm going to get this in the oven, and when I come back, we're going to put this whole meal together. I don't know what happened at this point. For some reason, I lost audio and I was still recording. So I'm just going to tell you what you are actually seeing. Okay, so right now I have the ingredients that I had marinating. So now I'm mixing the orzo along with the tomatoes, the olives, and I'm just mixing it all together. Remember, I put it in the refrigerator so that it could cool off because I didn't want the feta cheese to melt. So had I did it beforehand, it would have melted. So now I'm just mixing it all together. The orzo, the green beans, the tomatoes, the feta cheese, and the olives. And you remember earlier I put in the garlic and the onions. So I'm just giving this a thorough mix, as you can see. And let me know if you would have did anything different. If you would have, I don't know, maybe swap out the green beans and add something else to make it more authentic Greek. But this was a very easy meal and it came together pretty fast. Okay. So yeah, I'm just breaking it up and making sure that everything is all together. So here we go. So now, I don't know why it's taking me that long to put it together. Now I'm going to come in with the star of the dish, and that is the trout. Now this is a rainbow trout that I used. I'm going to plate it up. And you can have this part of the dish of the meal cold. You can have it room temperature, or you can have it hot. I decided to have it kind of cool because again, I didn't want the feta cheese to melt. But if you're not concerned about the feta cheese melting, then you go ahead and, mix it all together as soon as it's done. But I just put it in the refrigerator to cool. Now I'm coming in with the trout, and this is the rainbow trout that I put in the oven. And again, it didn't take any time to cook. It is delicious. And that's the fennel that you see on top. It gave a wonderful flavor to the fish, and it also softened. So if you're afraid of fennel being, very hard and crunchy, if you put it in the oven or just cook it in general, it can taste absolutely delicious. So that's the meal all put together, this wonderful Greek inspired healthy meal. Please take a minute, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Enjoy. Look at that delicious meal. I'm going to try to bring it down. All those wonderful flavors married together. And again, if the family was coming over, I would not be ashamed to put that on the table. Please take a minute, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know, recommend my channel. Until next time, enjoy.